All right, welcome to the Krug Show, everybody. Raj is in the house. It's Tuesday night. Are the Niners going to trade for a wide receiver? Should they trade for a wide receiver? There's a rumor that just came out literally 2 minutes ago. We'll share it with you coming up next. Tuesday night Krug Show coming right now. We get it rolling on the Krug Show. Hope everybody's having a great day. Happy October the 22nd, 2024. 8:11 on the West Coast, 11 minutes after 11 on the East Coast. Welcome to the Krug Show, brought to you by Pig and a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week, from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. or until they run out. We're also brought to you by Sharp Corners, Sports Cards and Collectibles, 205 Cypress Avenue, Pacific Grove. Call my friend Anthony Catania. He's at 831-521-5264. And this live stream is sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. We've done it 4 times already. Download the app below. Make sure you use the promo code NINERS, NINERS, to get your first deposit matched up to $200. Raj from RSF 49ers is in the house as we get things rolling on a Tuesday night. Hope everybody's doing great. Raj, good to see you, man. How are you?
I'm good, man. And I want to say before we start, congrats on 50K subscribers, Larry. I'm good, but I'm not doing as good as you, man. I'm feeling good though.
Thank you, man. Thank you, man. Wow. I thanked everybody last night on X, and you're one of the people I thanked because we've been working together, streaming together for a couple of years now. And of course, my son, Kevin Kreuger, has done an amazing job. Yeah. And you know, it's funny. The radio world is different than the content creation world. It's different than the YouTube world. It's all a little different. When you cook it all together, it really is an exciting platform. And I'm really enjoying myself, whether it be on the radio on KMBR, which I was tonight at 6 o'clock, whether it's on the Krug Show like I am right now, whether it's on this channel, coming on other people's channels. Game day, covering the Niners, going in the locker room, dealing with the press conferences and that kind of thing. It's just all a lot of fun. So I'm having fun. I hope you guys are enjoying the content. And Raj, thank you, because, you know, it's all these kinds of streams and videos off of the streams that really blow up. We met through my son a couple years ago, and once he kind of explained to me, you know, what you did and how you go about it, and it just kind of opened my eyes that, you know what, one, that me and you needed to stream together, and I think it's a great decision that we have decided to, because we have great streams, but also just that how vast this community is, and how many people are really into the 49ers. And how guys like yourself and now me alongside doing what I do, you know, we can hopefully add to that fan experience for the fans. And, you know, when I go to the games and I go through the parking lot and I see all the tailgaters and, you know, I take pictures and, you know, hey, Krug, have a shot of Patron, and, you know, come over here, meet my friend. This is my wife. You know, you got to meet this guy, you know, all that kind of stuff. I just, you know, I love it. I have a lot of fun with it. I know you do as well. And I can't thank people like yourself enough, because I really had no idea what I was doing when I got into this arena. And I only know a little bit more today, but people like yourself have helped me immensely throughout the last couple of years. So thanks, Raj. I do appreciate you. And I do appreciate all the hard work that you put into your own platform. And I really, you know, appreciate the contribution that you make over here on mine. So you do an incredible job, man. And it's awesome to stream with you every week.
Yeah, thank you. Likewise, man. Appreciate all the kind words. It's been fun streaming with you over the last couple of years and helping you out, and I've learned a lot from you, from the content game with everything, and just covering the team, and you know, the draft and everything. So it's been fun, and I'm happy that you're having so much success. And yeah, you know, I'm glad that your son connected with me, because I think we got a good team and we have a good thing going, and you're crushing it, man. We all want to be like you. And you're right. Like, meeting the fans, whenever I go to the games, people see me like, Raj, you gotta take pictures. They'll pull me aside. You know,
That's awesome.
I don't weigh nothing like $120, so they'll pull me, pick me up, and it's a good team. So I love it, man. But
Now,
appreciate
Raj always wears some Niner gear on the show, and I don't think I've seen this one, but I think I love it already. Can you lift that a little bit? Or look at that.
Yeah. Dre
now
Greenlaw.
it says Dre, behind it says Greenlaw, right? Or what does it say?
It's Dre Greenlaw. Yeah, it's Dre Greenlaw.
Yeah. And it looks like a picture.
Yeah.
Or multiple pictures kind of melded together, 3 pictures melded together. Where'd you get that one, man? I would rock that.
It's a good one. So the people that make my shirt are Lolita Customs are on Instagram, and they always send me.
I gotta write that down. How do I spell that?
LALITA. And I think
LALITA Customs.
Yeah, they're cool people. They got some new designs coming up. He actually designed Lolita Custom. So it's LALITA _custom. They got good stuff.
And it's a website, or is there a storefront?
And he has his website. Yeah, it's his storefront, and he hosts it through his Instagram.
I got to order that shirt, man. That is a good looking shirt.
It's a good one.
Bay Area Sports 83. Today's topic, Larry's feelings. Thank you. All right, let's get into the first topic of the show today is the news of the day, which is that Deebo Samuel was released from the hospital. He has fluid in his lungs, so that means he's got pneumonia. And even, it can be life-threatening for an older person. For a younger person, it's treatable. And I'm sure they gave him some antibiotics, and he was released from the hospital today. Now, it didn't say that he'll play on Sunday night against the Cowboys, but he did get released from the hospital. There are a couple of interesting reports out there. Albert Breer has connected the 49ers to Kendrick Bourne. And says that the Niners, almost made a deal for Bourne before, and he could see Bourne coming back to the Niners. Did you like that name? Do you not like that name? What do you think of the idea of Kendrick Bourne?
I mean, Niners are at this point, beggars can't be choosers. You got a lot of injured players at the receiver spot. We lost Brandon Ayuk, unfortunately, for the season. Deebo Samuel, whether he plays or not, it's going to be up in the air. Pneumonia is pretty serious. I've had pneumonia. It's not fun. He's a younger guy, so he could probably bounce back. Maybe he could play, but really depends on how much fluid he has, how he feels through practice. So, yeah, Kendrick Bourne, I know they linked him with the Niners when they were trying to trade Brandon Ayuk a couple months ago, and that was a name that was out there. So it's not like it's a new name to us. It's a guy that the 49ers know. A couple months ago, he did have the ACL injury, so he's cleared. He's back on the on the field with the Patriots. We could probably get him for nothing, Larry, at this point, and he knows Kyle Shanahan's system. I think the team would welcome him back. Deebo would be hyped to have his boy. He's a good locker room presence. Honestly, I don't think that's a bad idea. Go get Kendrick Bourne for a very late round pick, and he could be, a big help. Now, I know he's not this like elite wide receiver one, but he would help the wide receiver corps because they are dealing with a lot of injuries, not just Deebo, but Juwan Jennings. He has a hip injury, and Kyle earlier this week says he's not certain if Jennings is going to come back this week. So yeah, go get KB, baby, bring him back.
MOB squad says Bourne's washed. I don't know. To me, that one doesn't move the needle. I mean, I think he'd be fine. I mean, he would be he's a vet. He could be okay, but I don't think he's a difference maker. I don't think he moves the needle. I'm going to show you the latest rumor that we saw. This is on Twitter. This is from ML Football at _ML Football. Are you familiar with this site?
Yeah. I know that.
Okay, so they report Jaguars 27-year-old standout receiver Christian Kirk is drawing significant interest in the trade market. Kirk has been linked to the Chiefs and the 49ers by league front office personnel. Both teams are expected to make calls to Jacksonville for Christian Kirk. What do you think of that name? Does that intrigue you in any way?
I mean, that definitely moves the needle more than Kendrick Bourne, but the thing about it is, and I get it, Chris Kirk's a great receiver. He's kind of the guy that's set in stone. If you remember a couple years back when they were making all these wide receiver contracts, Christian Kirk's the one that kind of got it started, right? And he'd be a good player to have on the Niners. I think he's still dynamic, 27. But the thing with the Niners, it's not a problem. It's the Niners did draft 2 wide receivers, Larry, and I think they want to commit to these guys, Cowing and Pearsall. But how much do they want to get a guy that's a little younger, that's still kind of in his prime, or pretty much in his prime? I like Kirk. I think he'd be great. You could probably get him for cheap because the Jaguars they're pretty bad right now, and I think this week basically will determine the fate of their season. If they win this one, they might have a little inkling of still having a little bit of season left. If not, they're going to probably fire sale. So you could probably get him for cheap. I love Christian Kirk on the Niners. I think he would definitely help. But they kind of need a couple other needles to be moved on the defensive line too. So I don't know. I think they go for like a cheaper wide receiver, veteran guy. That's just the way I think the Niners are going to work, and maybe a defensive lineman. But I could be wrong. The Niners did get CMC a couple years ago. That was a huge needle mover for the Niners.
It's interesting. There's so many different wide receivers that are being rumored to be out there and available that it's hard to know what's true and what's just rumor. And the rumor mill has almost become an industry these days. So it's like, you got to remember, some of this stuff, just because somebody's rumored to be available doesn't actually mean that they're available. And oftentimes, guys that are rumored are not available. So, the reality, why didn't they go do this? Well, that guy was never available. Okay, so I'm going to list you the receivers that I've seen in rumors, and the list is pretty extensive. It's Cortland Sutton, Denver, Cooper Kupp, Rams, DeAndre Hopkins, Tennessee, who Dante Whitner did a video today saying he wants the Niners to go get D-Hop. There's Deontay Johnson from Carolina, the former Steeler. There's Garrett Wilson from the Jets. There's Tutu Atwell from the Rams. Mike Williams of the Jets. Christian Kirk, we just named, from Jacksonville. Treylon Burks, Tennessee. Adam Thielen, Carolina. Darius Slayton, New York Giants. Jacoby Myers, Las Vegas Raiders. T. Higgins, Cincinnati Bengals. Elijah Moore, Cleveland Browns. That's kind of the list. Now, the way I look at it, Raj, is really twofold. One, I just don't think that it's in the Niners' best interest to keep trading draft choices for old players.
Yeah.
It's the fastest way to tear down your roster is trade your young player, your ability to get young players for old players who are either at the end of their career, at the end of their contract, walking away at the end of the year. You're getting nothing in return. So off this list, first of all, I don't think the Rams are going to trade you Cooper Kupp. But either way, Kupp, Hopkins, Mike Williams, Adam Thielen, those four guys I would just draw a line through because they're too old. They're all 30+, and I don't want to acquire a 30+-year-old receiver. Then I think the next thing I would ask is there's all different kinds of receivers. And Ayuk on this team is kind of the deep threat. Now, I know he's not a burner per se, as you think of true burners, but if the Niners put three wide receivers in a route, on three different routes, and let's say one goes short, one's intermediate, and one's long. If it's JJ and Debo and Ayuk out of those three guys is generally going to run the deep route. Mm-hmm. I mean, it could be Debo, could be JJ, but you know what I mean? Most likely it's going to be Debo within 5 yards, JJ on the middle, the intermediate, and then, Ayuk gets the deep route. So because that's the case, I really think that you need to have speed. I don't think you can just add any receiver, Kendrick Bourne's slow. Cortland Sutton, 4.54. That's too slow. Treylon Burks, 4.55. He's big and strong. It's too slow. Jacoby Myers, 4.63, 40. That's too slow. T. Higgins, 4.54, 40. I mean, I don't think Cincinnati's going to trade him, but also that's slower than I want. Now, the guy, so you take away the old guys and you take away the slow guys, what do you have left? Well, this would be my list of the guys. And by the way, if you want an old, slow guy, go sign Isaiah Hodgins, the New York Giants receiver who's from Berean Christian. He's a Walnut Creek kid. He's on their practice squad. He's 6'4". He's got great hands. He played well for them at times over the last couple of years. If I'm going to go with a big receiver who doesn't separate all that well, I'd rather try to take Hodgins away from the Giants practice squad and pay nothing than give up draft choices. So that's my thought. But the guys who can run, I've got 6 guys here that can run. One is Deontay Johnson. He's a Carolina receiver. He's only 28. He's 5'10", 185 pounds. He doesn't run super fast, but low 4.5s. 4.53, probably the slowest guy that I'm going to list here. But he's also played with some really bad quarterbacks. He played with Roethlisberger at the end, then Kenny Pickett, then Bryce Young, now Andy Dalton. He's never played with a good quarterback, and yet Deontay Johnson has produced. So I think Deontay Johnson might not be bad. I don't know if Garrett Wilson's available, but guess what? If the Jets are dumb enough to entertain trading Garrett Wilson, if I'm the Niners, I'm dropping 2 or 3 picks on them and saying, give me Garrett Wilson, because he's got size and speed.
And he's young.
And
he's still young.
He's young. Yeah. He's very young. He could be your number 1 receiver down the road.
For sure.
If the Rams are going to move Tutu Atwell, I'm knocking at that door. He runs 4.32. He's a difference maker speed-wise. He'll create room for the Niners. I agree that Christian Kirk would be one of the guys I'd be interested in. He runs 4.47. He's got ability to get deep. He always has been able to get deep, going back to Texas A&M. Darius Slayton of the New York Giants, I think, is kind of a sleeper. He ran 4.39 coming out of college. He's been playing a lot this year. He's healthy. He's in good shape. He's not their primary guy. They're clearly looking to move pieces at the trade deadline. You might be able to trade for Azeez Ojulari as well, but Darius Slayton is big and fast. That might be interesting. And the other guy's Elijah Moore from Cleveland, who ran 4.35 coming out of Oxford at Ole Miss. I like Elijah Moore and his ability to catch the ball. So do I think they need a receiver? Yeah. Do I think they need to trade for a receiver? Yeah. Do I want an old one? No. Do I want a slow one? No. I want speed. Give me Deontay Johnson or Garrett Wilson or Tutu Atwell or Christian Kirk or Darius Slayton or Elijah Moore. Otherwise, if it's just about, a big possession receiver, go pluck a practice squad guy. That's how I see what do you think? I mean, should the Niners trade for a wide receiver? My first choice would be Garrett Wilson. Probably my second choice after that would probably be Deontay Johnson. Maybe my third choice would be Christian Kirk, then Slayton, then Tutu, then Elijah Moore. I don't know, but I like all 6 of the guys who can run. Who would you want? And do they need to trade for a wide receiver? And if so, who do you want?
I think they need to at least get a wide receiver for depth, because we can't keep throwing Ronnie Bell out there, Larry. We can't keep throwing Ronnie Bell.
No.
We can't do it. I can't watch another game with Ronnie Bell out there and being wide receiver 3. Because right now, as it stands, if Debo doesn't play,
it wasn't his fault.
I know it wasn't.
I don't even know if I believe that.
That's not even. It wasn't his fault. Just in general, I can't have him out there. Like just imagine this lineup, Larry. You got no Debo. Let's just say no Debo, no Juwan Jennings. Wide receiver 1, Ricky Pearsall. Wide receiver 2 is Jacob Cowan. Wide receiver 3 is Ronnie Bell. They need a wide receiver to at least help. Now I get it. DeAndre Hopkins is he's washed, but he's a good veteran. I don't think he has much left in him, but he's a good possession guy. I think that might be where they're going for. They don't want to spend too much. I love Garrett Wilson. I love the idea of it, but he's going to want a bag. He's young. He's still playing for, big.
He's on the rookie contract. That's the other attractive thing about Garrett Wilson. You will have to pay him someday, eventually, but you don't have to pay him this year.
He's trying to play for that bag eventually. Will he stay with the Niners if they get him? I don't know. But you're right. It is a cheap option now, but it could be down the line if he sticks with them. It'd be an expensive option, but it's not a bad 2-year rental if that's the case. Christian Kirk probably makes the most sense. He is paid a lot, but they can restructure down the line. He's 27. He's got good speed. Deontay Johnson, I don't hate him, but we know his blocking is kind of suspect, and Kyle likes guys that can block. That's probably why Ronnie Bell's still on the dang roster right now, because he is a good blocker. So Deontay Johnson, we've seen it on, many times where he just gives up on blocking, but he is productive. I think he does make sense, but I don't know if he'd fit with Kyle because he likes the blocking. So it's a tough position. That's why I think they're going to get a guy like D-Hop or Kendrick Bourne that most of us are like, dude, that guy's not fast. Where are you getting him? But then again, they do have Cowing, who has speed, and we saw him. He ran a nice little route this week and caught a deep pass where Brock underthrew it. So that's another question is, are they going to be, even if they have a speed receiver, can they utilize that speed receiver? Because Kyle's never really used the speed receiver on his roster. It's always, slant over the middle, a couple of intermediate routes, like you said. Ayuk would get the big route, but it wasn't always like a big go route. So even if they get a speedy guy, Larry, are those guys even going to get their targets?
John Kalouis is Larry. The cap hit on Christian Kirk, $28 million. a year for 24 and 25. Yeah, you'd have to somehow spread that out, give him some kind of an extension and lower those numbers for sure. And maybe you want to do that with a guy like him, and maybe you don't. But if the rumors are that they're interested, it sounds like maybe they'd be interested in restructuring then as well. They need some help at wide receiver. I mean, the thing about it too. I mean, I said Terrace Marshall was better than Ronnie Bell. Then they cut Terrace Marshall. He wound up going to the Raiders. Now you got Ronnie Bell, and I just don't. Nothing against Ronnie. He had topped out at Michigan, and he has not gotten any better since he became a 49er. He has gotten worse. He had better hands last summer than he has this year, at least based on what I saw in training camp and in the preseason and what I've seen so far. His ball skills from last year have not transitioned to this year. He's no bigger. He's no faster. He's no more explosive. Usually receivers get better in the second year. Ronnie Bell has not gotten better. So I just think that he's a redundant part. But they need dynamic, and he's not dynamic. All right. A couple things on Kev's Twitter that I want to share with the audience. First, we're going to let you hear this one. Here we go. We'll share the screen on this. This is Nick Wright, who's a clown.
I saw this.
But he's a clown, but he this is an interesting little video. We'll let you watch a minute or so. All right. I've heard enough of that guy.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, once again, it's like pumpkin watch means the clock strikes midnight and he turns into a pumpkin. In other words, his entire career is all a lie, according to Nick Wright. I mean, it's so nauseating. Okay, let me just hit a couple of these things. One, the first stat thing about how he's 13-1 with all these great players, 70% completion percentage, 9.4 yards per attempt, 29 touchdowns, 3 picks, passer rating of 120.9. All right, so now you're going to be like, he was really great with basically what is his team, right? That's his team. He's on this team. Those are his players. These are his weapons. So at what point during the 15 or 16 weeks that Purdy was accumulating this 13-1 record, did Nick Wright go on Fox FS1 and say, you know what, Brock Purdy has numbers that are as good as any quarterback in the league, and he might be the best quarterback going? No, he never believed in his numbers and was always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And he's always been waiting, like so many sad Niner fans, for. And it's weird. It's like if your scope is limited and all you know about quarterbacking is Garoppolo and Kaepernick, then I guess you might have some kind of like, I believed in Kaepernick and he sucks now and is out of football. I believed in Garoppolo and then he sucked and now is basically out of football. I mean, he's a backup. So that means that I can't believe in Brock Purdy, because eventually he'll be like Kaepernick and Garoppolo, and he'll suck and he'll be out of football. That's what the pumpkin talk is. Yeah. That's what that is. You're saying that he's going to be out of football, that Brock Purdy is not a good quarterback, that Brock Purdy is simply a product of the talent around him, and that without that talent, he is not an NFL quarterback. That's basically what he's saying.
Yeah. And,
and all I would say is, you know what? It's a team fucking game. It's a team game. I think it's pretty safe to say that everybody, and I don't want to speak for everybody, but I feel like I can when I make the statement, that everybody believes that Patrick Mahomes is the best. I think I don't know. There might be a couple people that might tell you, Allen or Burrow, but come on. I think it's pretty official that Patrick Mahomes is the best. Do you agree?
Yeah, he's the best quarterback. That's what everybody measures quarterbacks to. Yeah, absolutely.
He is the standard.
He's the standard, yeah.
But he lost a Super Bowl. Why did he lose? If he's the best and he had Andy Reid, who's the best, and they had Tyreek Hill, and all these guys are the best. They had Chris Jones, they had McDuffie, and why did they lose? They lost because both of their tackles were out, and Tampa Bay rushed Mahomes all night long, lived in the backfield, and won the game. That was it. So it's a team game. What if Mahomes were on a team where they lost the tackles and they never got them back? And and the talent started to erode. Would Mahomes still be the best quarterback? Yeah. But would he be winning Super Bowls? No. So I'm not saying that Brock Purdy's the best quarterback. My point is just that when Brock Purdy was, first of all, coming into the Chief game, PFF listed Brock Purdy as their highest rated quarterback in the entire league. Brock Purdy's, I watched a whole video where Mina Kimes, who supposedly knows football, said that Brock Purdy's numbers are noticeably better than Patrick Mahomes' numbers coming into Sunday's game. So now we're talking. So he's got better numbers than Mahomes coming into the game. He's PFF's number one quarterback. The guy's got a gaudy record with great stats throughout his career. And yet, with those guys, with these Avengers, as he calls them, he's 13-1. In all other games, when some of these guys are out, he's 4-8. But what nobody talks about is when you have these guys on your roster, you're also paying them. And after they're in the league for a while, they get established. You pay them a lot. You're paying Ayuk a lot. You're paying Debo a lot. You've extended CMC. You gave Kittle a ton of money. You paid Trent Williams a ton. Those guys make a ton of money. So it's a cap sport. You take away great cap in a cap sport. You take away superstar players. The guys beneath are, as time goes on, as you pay those superstars more, they're worse. They're worse than you think. So it's not quite like, oh, well, if you put Brock Purdy on another team, he'd be 4-8. No, if you put him on a team that now is leaning on Ronnie Bell and Jalen Moore and Eric Saubert and, Ricky Pearsall, then he's 4-8. But, so to me, it's that was totally disingenuous. The other part where he's like, since the Ravens loss, I think that one's kind of interesting. They were 18-3 in his 21 starts going into Christmas night. Since Christmas night, he's 12-12, or he's 12 games. He's 6-6. He's still averaging almost the exact same yards passing per game, almost the exact same yards per attempt. But his 47 touchdowns, 11 turnovers is now 16 touchdowns and 14 turnovers in the last 12 starts. So he's turned the ball over a lot more. But Kyle Van Noy came out of that game, Raj, and said that the Ravens provided the rest of the NFL a blueprint on how to beat Purdy. But still, I still think this is unfair. This is cherry-picking stats. Since Baltimore beat the Niners, they have not had a healthy Christian McCaffrey. He wasn't healthy in the playoffs, wasn't healthy in the Super Bowl, and hasn't played it down this year. So I think that has a lot to do. Now you've got Debo, who's older. Ayuk is ineffective. Now he's out for the year. Trent Williams held out. Kittle's 30. I don't know. I mean, we can hold Brock's feet to the fire, but I don't necessarily think that the Ravens did anything that night that other teams have copied, because other teams are not copying their plan. I've watched all the games since then. I don't see any semblance of a copy of Mike McDonald's plan. But I do think it's interesting, 18-3 versus 6-6 in the last 12. What do you make of those two statistical breakdowns? Pre-Ravens and post-Ravens, and with all of his, 5, as he calls them, Avengers, and without.
I mean, anytime you don't have your best players, it's going to be hard to win for any quarterback. Like you take away the weapons, like, the Eagles, they were not putting up great stats without A.J. Brown and Devon Smith. I can go down the list, but, Mahomes, he's the top of the, food chain at quarterback. He doesn't really have a receiver, and he still figures out ways to win. Just Brady did the same thing, right? He didn't have like top guys. And he said today, I think Baldy mentioned his quote, said something like, just because your two receivers are out, you should still figure out a way. Like, to an extent, yeah, Brock, maybe teams are figuring out Kyle and his scheme and Brock and things like that, because they know if you play man coverage, these receivers aren't going to separate. I think part of it is teams have figured out, like, hey, they don't have CMC, stack the box, stack it on Mason, and go play man coverage. They're not going to beat you. And then you put a hand in Brock's face, any quarterback under pressure under duress is going to have a hard time. They're going to be a little rattled. And this offensive line is not giving Brock time all the time. That's why he's been having to scramble and make plays with his feet. So, yeah, I think it was disingenuous because, Nick Wright, he hates Brock Purdy. He's a Mahomes guy. He's not objective. He said he's going to be objective. That was the total lie. Like, he lead off with saying, yeah, let's make this objective. It wasn't. He's going to be so facetious because he just is such a Brock hater. He's been waiting for it. Like, he's one of those guys that moves the goalpost. If Brock does good, it's then this. So, yeah, it wasn't a great game for Brock against the Chiefs. And the other thing I got to say is Spags, he has the Niners. Like, he has Brock's number. Like, all week last week, he was praising him. He was slow. He was praising him. He was trying to gaslight Brock. Oh, you're the best quarterback. You got no weakness. He was trying to make Brock a little too confident. So, obviously Brock says, I'm not going to believe that. That's stupid. I got a lot to work on. So, Spags came into this game very confident, and he really came in and he put in. I think Spags has a blueprint. If anybody has a blueprint, it's the Chiefs. But to sit here and say that Brock's not, great, but yeah, dude, he doesn't have Debo. He didn't have Ayuk for part of that game. Jennings, CMC. I think the biggest key to the 49ers, Larry, and Brock Purdy is just not having CMC. That changes everything on the dynamic of this offense. But Nick Wright, plain and simple, hates Brock Purdy. That's it, bottom line.
I mean, yeah, if you were sitting there, if Nick was sitting there saying, hey man, this guy's really good when he was 13-1 and 70% and 29 touchdowns and 3 picks, then it'll be one thing, but no, he wasn't. He was looking to tear him down. And it's like, if Brock Purdy goes up against Dallas Sunday night and does what he did last year against Dallas, 3 or 4 touchdowns, they win big, national TV, he dominates. Will he be, hey, you know what? I was wrong about Purdy. No, he'll just talk about something else. He'll just move on.
Yeah.
Like we're going to do right here. We're going to move on. But I do, Nick Wright is so annoying. And there's just something about him that's just so aggravating. He's got such a punchable looking face. By the way, this live stream is sponsored by Better, the official daily fantasy sponsor of the Krug Show. Use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. Download the app below. Make sure you use the promo code Niners to get your first deposit matched up to $200. All right, now we can't take a look at Niners Cowboys for the week, but we can take a look at right. I guess we can't. We can take a look at Thursday night. Let's take a look at the Thursday night action. It's Vikings at the Rams. Okay, let's see what Stafford, good old Stafford, what numbers they have for Stafford. 235.5 passing yards, half an interception.
Give me that interception all day.
Yeah, I think he's throwing a pick too. I like that. I'll take that.
Flores defense, come on.
Yeah, he'll throw one pick for sure. So we'll take that one.
Yeah.
Let's go to Atwell. Let's see what Atwell says. 37.5 receiving yards, 17.5 longest catch. Nah, I won't touch those.
I'll stay off of him.
How about Cooper Kupp? Let's see here. Let's see Cooper.
I don't even know if is he gonna play this week?
Is he? Is he not gonna play?
I don't know if he's gonna play.
6.5 receptions, 69. He played this week. 69.5 receiving yards, 20. I'll say 7 receptions.
They might need to feed him if they're going to trade him. They might need to feature him. That could be it.
Let's go more than 6.5 receptions for Mr. Cooper Kupp.
Okay.
Let's go down. Let's see Darnold. Let's see what Darnold's got. I think Darnold throws a pick for sure. Yeah, give me more than a half an interception. Darnold is the king of picks. He throws tons of picks. He always throws picks. He's even now with Minnesota. He's playing well, but he's still throwing interceptions. I'll take more than a half interception on Sammy Dimes.
Okay.
There you go.
What about JJ? What do we got for JJ?
For Jefferson, let's go with Justin Jefferson. Let's see what Jefferson's got. 83.5 receiving yards, 26.5 longest catch.
We got a touchdown prop or no?
Not on him. You like more than 83.5 or not really?
Yeah, I think the Rams have been giving up big time games. The Rams defense doesn't scare me. I think Justin.
I don't know about that one. I don't. What's Addison's status? I don't know, but I could see a 100-yard day for Jefferson. He starts to settle in and go for 100. Let's go over on 83.5.
I got him.
Let's
on
go
my
more
fantasy.
than 83.5. All right, so we got 4. Let's view our entry here.
Okay.
Okay, we got Stafford throwing a pick. We got Cooper Kupp over 6.5 receptions. We got Darnold throwing 1 pick and Jefferson over 83.5 receiving yards. Let's do that. We'll go with that 4-teamer, 4-leg parlay, and we'll go with 10 to win 50. There we go. We'll get a little 5-to-1 action right there. Once again, use Better to make daily fantasy lineups and win real money. Download the app below and make sure you use the promo code Niners to get your first deposit matched up to $200. And thanks to Better for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. There we go. We've made our wager. We're submitting our entry, our 4-pick. We can win $100. I guess we can win 100 there.
Do it, baby.
10 to win. Yeah, $10 to win 100.
That's great. That's good money.
I'll take that. I'll take that every day. That's a good one. And thanks to Better for being a proud sponsor of the Krug Show. Okay. This was also on Kev's Twitter, and I kind of want to share this one. This was from Jerry Rice.
No, yeah.
Jerry Rice went on 95.7 The Game. So here it is this morning. And he went on with Bonte and Shasky. Or it looks like Bonte and Joe Spadoni.
I think it was Morning Roast, yeah.
There you go. Morning Roast. Here's Rice. This is really interesting. Listen to this.
Hey, you're not sharing the screen here.
Oh, wait, hold on a second. Hold tight here. Hold on. Gotta share the screen.
I thought you were trying to pull it up the whole time. I was like, what?
Thought we were sharing the screen. There we go. There we go. Now we'll roll this back a little bit. Get a little bit more of this.
I look at body language. And, before a game, the opponent, the home team and stuff like that. I just felt like we were not fired up for that game.
Wow.
And it showed. It showed. And it's like, you get the ball. I want to see an offense sprinting, to the field saying, hey, let's go. And I'm just watching guys just move real slow. And it's almost like, hey, just another game. It really doesn't mean that much. All of that. That's what I saw. That's the body language that I saw. And it showed. It just looked like they didn't execute well. They did not, have that fire. And with KC, they just had the confidence. They came in. And, they said, hey, we got this crown on our heads and stuff like that, and we're gonna get this W, and we're just gonna just ride on out of here without no effort at all, and that was it.
What do you think, Raj? Were the Niners not ready to play? The only thing I'll say is I am so effing sick of this. Everybody respects everybody. Kittle loves Kelsey. Shanahan loves Reed. Mahomes loves Purdy. Everybody fucking loves everybody. And it's like, and you keep getting beaten by the same team, and they've cost you 2 freaking rings on your finger, and you can't get up for them. I mean, I don't know. It's like the Niners didn't like the Cowboys. You didn't hear Jerry going, Michael Irvin's a hell of a receiver. Fuck Michael Irvin. You know what? It wasn't like George Seaforth was going, Barry Switzer's a really nice guy. Fuck Barry Switzer. No Niner, the level, they respected the Cowboys, but this mutual admiration society shit has got to end. That's got to end. It's so fucking tired. I cannot stand listening to guys, sit there and pat each other on the back. And then Jerry said it. I mean, where's the super fire? I mean, it was like the 49ers were like, we're going to do our best and we'll see what we got. And it just didn't seem like it was like, we have to win this game. It just didn't have that vibe to it. It did not have that vibe. It had this like, we respect them. It's not a division game. It's not a conference game. It's when do you just care more about your self-respect? How about just getting a little respect? How about standing up to the bully one time? How about not just bowing to this incredible Chiefs team and show up with some fire? How about maybe, I don't know, how about no hugs and kisses after the game? How about no jersey swaps? How about no, man, you're the best. And they keep falling for this bullshit. I mean, Kelsey comes up to Kittle in the postgame. He's like, hey, man, let's do this again in February. It's like, first of all, I almost felt like that's a little pandering too, because it's like they're going to be there in February. Are the Niners? It's like, I don't know. It's just, to me, I'm so sick of everybody loves everybody.
Yeah.
Can there be some bad blood? Can somebody be like, hey, you know what? I'm fucking tired of losing to these guys. I'm sick of this.
Yeah.
Can somebody say, you know what? We've gotten pushed around and slapped around, and it's time to step up. I felt like it was like two speeds on Sunday. Malik Mustapha and everybody fucking else.
Yeah. Yeah. There's very few people that showed up. And I agree with everything Rice said. He spit 100% facts. He also said, this is another quote. He said, to be honest, if we played the way the 49ers played yesterday, we would have probably been swinging on each other on the sidelines. We would have been fighting each other. That was not the 49er standard right there. Like, he's definitely upset because I just don't see that passion. And like at the end of the game, like you said with Kelsey and Kittle, and then you have Brock Purdy going up to Spags, who fucking ran him over on it with his defense. He goes up to Spags. Great job, coach. No fucking great job, coach.
Job, man. You really shut my ass down. You really,
intercepted.
Get off the field, get a shower, and get home.
Get the fucking aggressive. Like, I did feel that they just were like, whatever going into this game, because last week all the talk was, we don't worry about the Super Bowl. It's a new season. No, I'd be like, look, we need some fucking revenge on these Chiefs, because they did it against the Eagles. When it was the Eagles, it was like, we can't wait. We've been circling this day on the calendar. We can't wait. We're going to, the Chiefs was like, we respect Mahomes. It was like a glaze fest all week. I don't know, man. They need to have some aggression. Jerry Rice kept it 100. 100%.
Is it, I know everybody's super fucking soft in 2024, but is it asking too much to kind of hate your opponent?
Dude, just
like
we
have to sit there and go kumbaya all the time.
That's exactly. They're singing like camp songs together. It's like, dude, Travis Kelce, I know he's your friend. I don't need to see you giving him mouth to mouth at the end of the game and talking about going to the Super Bowl in February. Stop it. That was crazy today.
Made my stomach crawl.
I know.
All this glad handing, all this. Oh God, just makes me sick. Just keep getting beaten down by these guys. You just get. They keep eating. They keep having the kind of season that you want to have and preventing you from having it. Where's the anger? Where's the? You know what? It's our turn. I don't know. It's weird. It's weird. I want to see. Can we sign Charles Haley for a 10-day contract like they have in the NBA and bring him in? Because Charles Haley right now has got more fire and more anger than the entire Niner team put together.
Yeah.
I'd like to see. Show me a little fire. Show me a little anger. Show me a little emotion. Let's pretend we give a shit. Can we try to care about some of these games?
Yeah. They need this guy, Larry. They need Greenlaw. Greenlaw's out there throwing punches on the sidelines. He's playing more aggressive than anybody on the field. That's what they're missing. Like, they don't have that that fire. Greenlaw brings out that fire. He's like the Draymond Green for this team. You got Devondre Campbell out there. He's not your Drake. You need that, like, that energy guy. They don't have
If
it.
I was John Lynch, I would not go to a single 40. I see him every day. He's always there at practice. He's always there at the game. If I was John Lynch, I wouldn't go to a single goddamn practice the rest of the year. I don't want to go to a single game the rest of the year. I would live in college football stadiums looking for the next Dre Greenlaw. Go find 5 more Dre Greenlaws. Go find guys who live to win. Go find guys who live to seek and destroy. Go find guys who want to hurt and maim their opponent. No more nice guys. I want to, get out of Levi's and go sit in a college football stadium and go find the next Dre Greenlaw. Go find the next Charles Haley. That's you want to get on the Chiefs deal. You want to interrupt their thing. You're gonna have to draft your way out of this hole. There's no free agent trade or anything else there's no Band-Aid approach to this thing. You're going to have to go into these college football stadiums and scout and figure it out and go draft those guys and bring them in. And once you get 4 or 5 of those guys, you will have turned around your defense. Right now, it's Malik Mustapha and everybody else.
I agree, Larry. They're just soft, man. They're missing tackles. They're like, oh, whatever. It's like they don't care. It's like they're getting paid, whatever. So Mustafa he was trucking people. And I know he got trucked by Mahomes. I think he froze at that moment. But regardless of that play,
he didn't want to detonate on the quarterback because he knows it's a penalty. Otherwise, he would have smoked him like a cheap cigar.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, man, he was bringing it, but nobody else had that energy. That's why Greenlaw has it. You need to get a whole bunch of those type of guys. And they don't have it. They don't have anybody. A guy they missed? Jimmy Ward. That guy would beat you in the middle of a play, and it didn't matter. He got in a fight with OBJ on the middle of a play.
Jimmy Ward used to tell me, he's like, man, when you hit a guy in his ribs or his patella, he doesn't react the same way. And when he said patella, he kind of gave me that sly grin, that kind of, like he lives to hit. Heck, Dre Greenlaw's, rehabbing. He's not going to play for a couple months. Drag his ass out on the scouting circuit. Go find, game knows game. Go see if he can find the next Dre Greenlaw. He is Dre Greenlaw. Dre, show me somebody that you respect, that you think's as tough as you, that you think loves the game as much as you. Let's go on a scouting trip and let's go find those guys. And then let's get a bunch of draft picks and let's draft a bunch of those guys. And then we'll come back here next year and take on the Chiefs when we have 5 Dre Greenlaws and we're ready to kick their ass. But until then, these are some tough days. These are some really tough days. And Jerry, good for Jerry. That's what I love about Jerry. Jerry's just going to call it out. Jerry's not going to sit there and be like, oh, you know what? Butter everybody's muffin. Screw that. Jerry's going to come out and tell you the truth. Tom Brady says Brock is going to have to do it without the weapons. And then he said Jed's gonna cut him the check, but this will be a good test to see what Brock can do without the weapons. I don't know. I mean, it's like, once again, it's like, so what? Brady talked to Jed, and Jed's like, I'm going to pay this guy, but now it's a good test to see what he can do. How many guys, seriously, can really carry the team by themselves? Like how many great players can carry a team? So I think that's such a fallacy. I don't think it ever has happened. I don't think it's ever happened. Troy Aikman didn't carry the Dallas Cowboys to 3 Super Bowls. They were great. All right. Joe Montana didn't carry the Niners. They were great. Steve Young didn't carry the Niners. They were great. But now Brock Purdy's got to carry the Niners as they erode. No, I mean, come on. Brock Purdy is part of it, and he's a damn good quarterback, and I think the 49ers should feel lucky to have him, and they should extend him. And if you want to debate how much he should get paid, I don't know. I mean, I saw Mahomes is making 45. I know there are quarterbacks that make more. If I was Brock, I'd be like, hey, how about 45? And I think if he wants 45, I think that would be good. I think 45 would be, I could live with 45. What do you think,
Yeah,
Raj?
that's I think the big question. I think that's what Brady's trying to say is if he's worth $60 million, which a lot of people have thrown that number out, then yeah, he does have to prove himself without these weapons. But you're right, it's a team sport. You can't sit there and say that one guy is worth $60 million. Although the Dallas Cowboys paid Dak Prescott pretty that much money, which is crazy. But it's tough because the 49ers are in this position where they are going to have to pay Brock. Whether we like it or not, he's going to have to get his check, right? Unless they throw a curveball and they don't keep Brock. But I agree with Brady to an extent, was to the point of, hey, if he's going to get paid that much money and you don't have all these weapons, you got to show us what you can do. Can you elevate some of these other younger players, these receivers? Because in Brady's defense, Larry, this man was throwing to Deion Branches of the world. He made Julian Edelman and Wes Welker Hall of Famers. Those guys.
Both those guys, by the way, Raj, not to interrupt, but Deion Branch and Julian Edelman both were Super Bowl MVPs.
They were dogs in the Super. But Brady made them look. You put them on another team. Do you think they're the same guy? I don't know. I don't think they were like these. He didn't have like Jerry Rice's. When he finally got a guy like Randy Moss, you saw what Randy Moss went and got 20 touchdowns with Tom Brady. When he was
they didn't win the Super Bowl, but yeah,
they fell short.
They lost to the Giants. But yeah, I know. I'm just saying, I hope Jed, I guess my question is this. Where do you think Jed is right now? So, that's the one thing with the 49ers. You never know you never get a real solid grip on how the family feels about the guys at the top of the masthead. Do they like Lynch? Do they like Shanahan? Do they like Purdy? Do they want to? I mean, they should love those guys. They're making them lots and lots of money.
Yeah.
Jed, it sounds like he's going to cut the check. I hope Brock is smart and leaves a little meat on the bone for the rest of the roster like Brady did. And I hope he doesn't, ask for $60 million. I can't see a holdout. I mean, I really cannot see a holdout again. They cannot have a holdout again.
No.
But I do think that it's fair to look at Brock and to evaluate him through all of this, right? Is he going to be as good without his weapons? No, he's not going to be as good without his weapons. So do you want to pay him $60 million? No, I don't think I want to pay him $60 million. Just, it doesn't mean I don't like him. It doesn't mean I don't believe in him. But maybe I don't want to pay him $60 million. Maybe I'd like to pay him closer to what Mahomes is making at 45. What do you think, Raj? What should the Niners offer Brock Purdy? Should they offer him 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 60? I mean, I've heard it. We've heard it all. We've heard they're going to offer him 65. I've heard they're going to offer him 30.
I mean, what's
a fair offer?
I think right now, I mean, you got to realize he's Mr. Irrelevant. Anything he's going to get is going to be a fair offer. This guy was making pennies for a quarterback, but he has played great. He looks like he's been a franchise quarterback, but there's the whole mystique of, he's got the Avengers. He doesn't have the Avengers. I honestly think this second half of the season will determine his price. If he goes up there and they win out and the Niners go on a run and he'll be a big part of it because he's the quarterback. He's going to dictate $50 to $60 million. Right now, I'd say $40 to $45 million is very fair for him. I think that's a great money contract, but it really is going to hinge on the second half of the season, Larry. And if he goes out there and he tears it, because he's been near the top of MVP over the, last year. He was an MVP candidate, until the Ravens came to town. But again, he did have CMC and all those guys. So you got to realize if he takes $60 million, Larry, they're not going to be able to keep a lot of their guys. So for him, I think what you said too is maybe take the Brady route, take a little less so you can get better O-line, because this O-line, they're not going to be getting too far with a great quarterback like that. You got to protect them. You need to be able to protect your investment. They need to make sure they can get some receivers and running backs whenever CMC is done, and things like that. So I think if he's smart, he could take the 45. And for a guy that was Mr. Irrelevant, getting paid maybe $1 million a year to go to $45 million, that's a huge jump for him. I don't know about 60 million yet, but if he plays like an MVP the second half of the stretch, maybe he'll justify it.
Do you believe that Brock is a franchise quarterback?
Yeah, I still believe in Brock. I still believe he's a franchise quarterback. I mean, you look at the film hasn't changed. I know this week was bad, but leading up to this game, I mean, you see the film, he's been able to extend plays. He hits the receivers in stride, the tight windows, like those things have not changed. The film from all those games that we saw doesn't change. I know he had the weapons there, but that film is not going to change whether you want to, say he's not a franchise quarterback or not, because there's a lot of people that have soured on Brock after this game. But again, my big takeaway from this Chiefs game was Spags owns Brock Purdy. He literally knows how to play him like to the T. So I still think he's a franchise quarterback. Quarterbacks are going to have bad games, but it's really going to be determined by the second half of the season. But I think he's still a franchise quarterback. Yeah.
I think he's a franchise quarterback. But I think it's also, fair to say that he can't carry the entire team on his own.
I agree.
There's only one Patrick Mahomes. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people were like, dude, you like Brock more than Herbert? And I said, yeah, I like Brock more than Herbert. I mean, Herbert, another example last night, had a nice night, threw for a bunch of yards. Stats look good. He looked good. Did they win? No, they lost. And he's sub 500, I think, for his career, or at least he was coming into this game or coming into this season. All right. I want to show the Baldy breakdown on Mustapha. Because as I said, the Niners were two different teams this weekend. Yeah. It was that kid and everybody else. This kid had 12 tackles, 6 solo, and he hit people like a truck. And everybody else is just like, yeah. But you got Mustapha, one of my favorite Niners. Love this kid. Here's Baldy on and listen to what he calls him, by the way.
Like he's old. Dude, Mustafa's old school. I like him. We got it, Larry. I don't think it's up.
Hold on.
He's slacking on it today.
No, for some reason I had a hard time getting rid of this before. All right, hold on. Share screen. I had to look for it. That's right. Okay, there we go. Now you got it. Okay, here we go. Now you got it. Here we go.
I like watching this rookie safety from the 49ers play. Malik Mustapha. Like you watch him just full speed. Bam. That Kareem Hunt's hard to tackle in the open field. He doesn't give him a chance. Like he is an angle assassin. You watch Worthy coming over here on this fly sweep right here. And here he comes. Like he's just going to eliminate it. Bam. Just blows him up. One big hit after another. Fred Warner right here. They want to keep Kareem Hunt out of the end zone. He'll get first hit. But Mustapha cleans it up. There he is, right in the middle of it, not letting him get across the goal line, defending the goal line. You watch this play right here. Again, here comes Worthy on one of these underneath routes right here. Little fly sweep, here it comes. Watch him. Once he sees it, when he hits him, the play ends. And they usually go backwards. He just drives. That's a kiss. That's a good kiss right there. He drills him right into that beautiful turf at Levi Stadium. And then you just get this right here. You're going to see like Kareem Hunt's he's going to break through right here in this little power play. He goes to decapitate right there. I like the way he plays, man. It's Full Metal Jacket. Like just a bat out of hell. That's how he plays.
Mustafa. You call him whatever you want, but that guy is something, man.
Good, man.
That guy is something. And he is a great kid. I mean, seriously, I'll a lot of times, guys don't want to talk or whatever, I'll just walk over to him at his locker and he'll just be sitting there, chomping on a sandwich, and you'd be like, "Hey, what's up, Malik? How you doing, man?" He just starts talking. I said, "Hey, you watch your Demon Deacons this weekend? Are you gonna watch them?" He's like, "No, man, I'm so into what I'm doing right now. I can't even watch my Deacons." So we start talking about ball. We start talking about hitting. We start talking about life, and he's a great kid, man. He's just a great kid. That was a phenomenal pick, and I love that. I was calling for him. In the lead up to the draft, because it was a lousy draft for safeties. And yet there were only like 3 or 4 really good ones, but this kid really, really stood out. And as the word I would use is he tattoos guys. He doesn't hit you and you sort of he tattoos you, he hits you, and you just fold. He's really, really, he's a great guy. But I think he's one of the more exciting players they've drafted in recent years. This guy plays for keeps.
Yeah, he's like a hammer. He hits you, and you're like, oh, you're stopped in your tracks. And I love him, man. And he's got a sky high potential. He's fun. He takes out those players. Like I guarantee you, those Chiefs players were sore as hell on Monday morning. So because of Mustapha. Now, I honestly think
Renardo Green too. Him and Renardo are just
he's
awesome.
a dog. I think Talanoa Hufanga is not going to be back because Mustafa's great and he's got a rookie on a rookie deal. I don't think they're going to pay Hufanga. He's been banged up and stuff. Honestly, because of him, he's expendable. That's how good he is. He's
if
great.
I go to Lolita_Customs, can I find me a Mustafa?
Not yet. I told them they need to make a Mustafa. They're
They better get
restocking.
on it, man.
They need to get on that one.
I mean, you know, as soon as they make stuff, you got to get it and start rocking it.
That's what
you got to tell me. I got to get it and I got to start rocking it.
I'll start letting you know. But this guy, he's got like Dre Greenlaw vibes to me. Like that's the way he plays. You know, we talked about earlier. You need a couple of Greenlaws. You need a couple Mustafas on your team. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, we don't interview a lot of the players when they're hurt, so we haven't talked to Greenlaw. But Greenlaw's my guy, and I talk to him quite a bit. I would love to hear what Dre thinks of Malik Mustapha.
I need to see both of them on the field together. Oh my God.
I would love to know what Dre thinks of Malik Mustapha. Okay. One other thing. The Niners picked up a guard today. Did you see this?
No, they worked out a guard.
Or they worked out a guard. Gunnar Britton is his name?
Yeah, Gunnar Britton.
I take pride in knowing almost everybody. I don't know any. I don't never heard of Gunnar Britton.
He really hasn't been in. I think he was undrafted with the Bills this year, but they cut him.
Do you know anything about him? You know where he played college ball at all? Or
and I looked it up earlier. I had it. Let me pull it up.
Why do you think they did that? Is there an injury on the offense? Is Banks or Pooney hurt? You think?
No, I think they need that. Oh, so he Western Kentucky, then transferred to Auburn. So he played Auburn was his last year. Then they undrafted to the Bills, and he was cut from them on during the offseason.
I just saw this before the show, so I just
think they're looking for depth. Honestly, I think they're just looking for depth. You know, just in case. I don't think, from what I understand, there's no injuries, but they did lose. Actually, no, it makes sense. They lost their backup tackle that was on the practice squad. I can't remember who picked him up. I think the Giants might have picked one of their.
Chris Hubbard went to the New York Giants.
Chris Hubbard, yeah, they lost him. So maybe
there you go. That's right. You're right. You're on it. You're right. They lost Hubbard last week to the New York Giants. The only backups they have, the only practice squad O linemen they have are Drake Nugent and Isaac Alarcon, and so they wanted to add another body. That's it, right there.
That's what
Good
it
call.
is.
Okay, Niners Cowboys go on Sunday. Do you have any Cowboy that you admire or like? Is there any Cowboy player that you've either met, know, or just for whatever reason admire or like? I mean, there have been Cowboys that have been Niners. Who are Niners and Cowboys? Hollywood Henderson,
Dion, Haley,
Gogan.
Yeah, Gogan. Linebacker, Ken Norton.
Yeah, Ken Norton. It's really hard to think now, huh?
Trying to think. I know.
Trey Lance.
Oh,
Trey
yeah.
Lance.
Trey Lance.
Look at that.
Oh, God.
Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Somebody said Nate Newton. Nate Newton was never Brent Jones was drafted by the Steelers, not Cowboys. I don't think.
T.O. How did I forget?
T.O. There you go.
T.O.
That's my quarterback. That's Larry Allen, the late Larry Allen. Loved Larry Allen. Did I tell you Larry Allen let me sit in the front seat of his Rolls?
Yeah.
We both were spokespeople for this Italian men's clothier in Pleasanton. Caceres, and he was there one day and he had the Rolls out front. Larry, look at that Rolls. he opened the door and let me sit in the front seat. I was like, wow, look at that.
That's funny.
Larry Allen. Larry Allen was a great guy. Great.
Good
What a
dude. You know-
dominating player he was.
He was a
CJ
monster.
Spillman.
He was a
There we go.
monster.
Now we're
Oh,
really
CJ
digging.
Spillman. Someone said it's Eric Kendrick's revenge game. Do you remember that in the offseason? The Niners traded for Eric, or they signed Eric
Yeah.
Kendrick in the morning. By the
Yes.
evening, he went to the Cowboys.
Here we go. Kev has this one. Randy Gregory.
Randy Gregory, yeah. Alden Smith,
North Turner, coach for the Niners and the
Yeah.
Cowboys.
Alden Smith, that's a good, Alden Smith. Jose
Did
Cortez.
Alden Smith play for the? Oh, I guess he did play for the
Yeah,
Cowboys.
he did play for the Cowboys. He did. Malik Collins,
So,
was he a Cowboy?
If I say to you, is there any Cowboy in history that you like?
Hmm. I mean, if I have to say one Cowboy,
I'll say this. I like Trey, but I interviewed Roger Staubach a couple years ago at Army Navy, and
Okay.
Roger Staubach, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like there was like it was almost like he was like royalty. I mean, Roger Staubach is a great American, an incredibly nice human being, and just very dignified. He played at Navy, so that's why he shows up at Army Navy every year.
Yeah.
And I remember as a little kid, I always wanted to beat this Cowboys, not be a Cowboy, but hey, we're playing backyard football. Who are you? It's like, oh, I'm Terry Bradshaw. Oh, I'm Roger Staubach. I'm Fran Tarkenton. I mean, when we were little kids, 8, 9 years old. But meeting Roger Staubach, it's hard not to like Roger Staubach. I mean, he's just a great person, man. I can just tell Roger Staubach is a great human being. And there's something really classy about Roger Staubach. Was there a Cowboy that you could say, you know what, I kind of like that guy, even though he was a Cowboy, I kind of liked him?
I mean, obviously because they were Niners before Deion Sanders and Terrell Owens. I was probably the biggest Terrell Owens fan. When he went to the Cowboys, I was crushed, but I still thought, I was like, damn, he's still so good. And Deion too, man. Like, I wish we would have kept him. But honestly, a guy that
the Niners had him for $1 million. The Cowboys got him for
like
multi-millions.
So much, yeah. We made him a superstar, and then Dallas took him, and he became a megastar.
Well, I don't know if we made him a superstar.
I think we did. He was Defensive Player of the Year that year, Larry. They won a Super Bowl because of him.
I think Deion might have been a superstar in Atlanta, to be completely honest.
I think he became a bigger star with the Niners. I think he was.
Well, he won with the Niners.
He was on
the
the
Niners
cusp.
made him a champion. Niners made him. He made the Niners. They made him. Either way,
it was a mutual thing. But the
Deion,
guy
in some ways, is the most exciting player.
He was so fun to watch. I love that guy.
So fun to watch.
I had the headband. I had the Deion. I love Deion. That was my favorite. He was
how about the Deion Bad Moon Rising fight where neither guy got ejected?
They was throwing. Can you imagine that?
They threw like 20 blows on each other and neither guy got ejected.
Trent Williams threw one punch because he got hit and they ejected him instantly.
How about Deion later in that game down the sideline? And then Deion had the best dance. Easily the best dance. Easily.
Loved it.
Deion was so exciting. So exciting.
He was flashy, man. So flashy. I loved him.
He was so flashy.
He was good. The guy that I actually met from the Cowboys, who was an all-time great, nice, actually super good guy, and he killed the Niners many times. Emmitt Smith, man. Emmitt Smith, class act, Hall of Famer. I met this guy before. He was super humble, nicest guy I've met. Well, one of the nicest guys I've met. He's super cool, dude. And, he gives you the time of the day. And, he's a legend, Hall of Famer, but super nice guy, very approachable. Emmitt Smith, man.
Emmitt Smith was the heart and the soul of the 1990s Cowboys. All right, couple last ones before we jet. The Niners are allowing 18.4 yards per punt return. It is last in the NFL. They are giving up 33.2 kickoff return yards per return. That is 29th in the NFL. Should Schneider be fired?
Immediately. I don't know what. It's fire him yesterday. This special teams, Larry, every week they make some gaff, a big return. The kick by Mitch Wisnowski was inexcusable. The special teams has been so bad. They put an emphasis on special teams every offseason, but I don't see it. This special teams you just said it, they're the worst unit in the league. And every week they cost us a big play. Like, it's got to be the coaching, right? It's got to be the coaching. I don't know. Get him out of there. The special team's not working.
No, I hate Schneider's a nice guy, but if you're gonna have a team and you're gonna keep everybody accountable, there has to be some penalty for failure. And to me, when you're last in punt return coverage and you're 29th in kickoff return coverage, I'm sorry, but we're going to make, I'd have to make a change. I really do. By the way, Dan Serrano here says, rest in peace, Fernando Valenzuela. Another guy who I, technically hated as a kid, right? Because I'm a Giant fan, and he played for the Dodgers. And I had a chance to meet Fernando. And Fernando was one of the most kind, generous-hearted people I've ever met. And he was just such a really sweet guy. Impossible not to like. And I don't know exactly. I saw a picture of him the other day, and he looked really thin. And so I was worried about his health. But what a great story! What an incredible guy he was. He lived in a tiny, tiny little town in Mexico, and a scout named Mike Brito for the Dodgers went down to Guadalajara to see another player, and he stumbled onto Fernando pitching in a game, and he loaded the bases, and then he got out of it without a run being scored. And the guy was like, "Wow, that was a lot of poise from that young left-handed pitcher." And he went and met him. He lived in a very poor background, very poor upbringing, very tiny little home in the middle of nowhere. And the Dodgers wanted him, and they were bidding on him. And Mike Brito told Al Campanis, hey, he wants X number of dollars. I forget exactly the amount. And they said, we're not fooling around with this guy. He keeps driving the price up. And they said, okay, we'll give him those extra dollars, but that's it. We want it done. We want this thing signed. So sure enough, they offered him a few extra dollars. He signed with the Dodgers. 5 minutes later, the phone rang, and the Yankees were offering like double.
Oh.
And he'd already signed. Otherwise, he would have been a New York Yankee. I think it's really interesting on the with the Dodgers playing the Yankees in the World Series starting Friday night. Fernando Valenzuela was a great Dodger, and he was not supposed to start. Jerry Royce was supposed to start for the Dodgers on opening day, and he got sick. And they went to Fernando and said, Fernando, get in there. The rest is history. They put him in. He won. He started off like 8-0. Fernando Mania was huge. Everywhere he pitched, 15, 20,000 extra people would show up. He brought the Mexican Americans back to Dodger Stadium. See, a lot of people don't remember that Dodger Stadium was built in the hills of Chavez Ravine right there in North LA, north of downtown. Those homes were dotted with the families of Mexican Americans, and they through eminent domain, Walter O'Malley got that land by Echo Park, dedicated to the Dodgers to build for a stadium, and they had to bulldoze these homes. And they promised these Mexican American families that they would be able to have brand new homes. They gave them vouchers for a brand new housing development that was supposed to be built, but the guy who was in charge of it got caught up in the McCarthy hearings, and the homes never got built. So hundreds of Mexican American families who lived where Dodger Stadium is now had their homes bulldozed, were given vouchers for new homes that they were never given.
Damn.
And so the Dodgers were hated by a lot of the Mexican Americans in Southern California for years after they came west. I mean, they came west in 58. They hated the Dodgers and boycotted the Dodgers through many Mexican Americans did throughout the entire decade of the 60s and the entire decade of the 70s. And it wasn't until Fernando came on the scene in 80 or I think it might have been 81 actually. That's when those fans all started coming back to the stadium. So he had a huge impact on the game. He had a huge impact on baseball in Southern California. He had a huge impact on the young Mexican kids who dreamt of being Fernando. And he was a sweetheart of a guy. I met him. I shook his hand. We had a couple minutes to talk in the lunchroom at Dodger Stadium. Sweetheart of a guy. Fernando Valenzuela. R.I.P. Fernando.
R.I.P. man. Hell of a story. Pioneer that. You got Larry knows ball, man. Larry knows baseball. Woo!
I'm a big baseball fan. Okay, two last ones. J.P. Mason inside the 5-yard line this year. 7 carries, 1 yard, 1 touchdown. What is the deal with Mason inside the 5? Why can't he run?
He's stuff in the box. He's not elusive like CMC. He doesn't have the threat of the catching the pass. The thing with CMC, when he was in that red zone or in those crunch situations, they could throw him the ball. He doesn't always catch the ball. And the other part is CMC is like a snake, man. He's a snake. He can slither through. His elusiveness is something else, and it opened everything else. Mason, and I love the guy. He just doesn't have that elusiveness, and they are crunching. They are stuffing that box. Teams know he stuffed the box. He's not going to be able to get past that, the initial block. That's it. It's literally they're stuffing the box like crazy on him.
Last one. Are the 49ers, first of all, I agree. I would say I'd put on the list if, you can't bank that McCaffrey's coming back. It would be nice if, let's just say the Niners were going to make a trade and get a receiver, a Deontay Johnson or somebody like that. It'd be nice if they could get another power back because you know what? You're going to have to punch it inside the 5, and Mason's not that guy. McCaffrey I don't know if he was ever really great in short yardage. It would be nice if the Niners could somehow get another back who could at least be a power package inside the 5, Deontay Foreman, or just somebody who could pack a wall up and be a better short yardage runner. You don't have, the Niners in 1981, Bill Walsh added Johnny Davis. He had Ricky Patton. He had Lenville Elliott. He added Johnny Davis. Why? Because Johnny Davis was like 238 pounds. He needed a goal line back. You got to be able to punch it inside the 5. And the fact that Mason dances at the line, it's just not good. He's not a good short yardage back. He doesn't hit the hole hard like you want a short yardage back to do. So that might be another thing they can get. Last one, Tampa Bay coming out of the bye week. So it's Niners, Cowboys, then the bye. Hopefully the Niners will be 4-4 coming out of the bye. Tampa, when they get Tampa the week after the bye, is going to be without Chris Godwin and Mike Evans. I don't know if you saw that. Mike Evans has got a hamstring. Yeah. Chris Godwin has an ankle, a dislocation. So Godwin's done for the year. Evans is probably done for 5 weeks. Neither promises to be there coming out of the bye. Raj, that is maybe the break that we've been looking for here. The 49ers need to get right against Dallas. That's for sure. They need to get a win. But Tampa was looking scary before these injuries. With these injuries, maybe the Niners can get on a little bit of a roll and get some momentum going second half. To me, that was not just like another injury. Those are major injuries for Tampa.
That changed the complexion of their entire team. They were a first-place team. They may not make the playoffs now. That's how big those injuries were. Baker is playing great, but he needs his receivers. Mike Evans, one of the most underrated receivers in the last decade. This guy's he's a Hall of Famer. And then you got Chris Godwin, who was having a fantastic season, 500 yards, 5 touchdowns, and he was a free agent having a big contract season. That injury, was so brutal. I saw that last. I was like, oh my God, I can't believe it. The way the ankle turned, I was just like, man. And it was 43 seconds. Didn't need to be in there. I get it. You still play to the last whistle, but they should have accepted the loss. And you're right. The football gods were like, well, the Niners, they're cooked with injuries. Maybe we can help them out. But at the same time, Larry, you can't guarantee. We can't sit here and guarantee a win. They got to beat the Cowboys first and foremost. You can't go into the Tampa Bay game 3-5. You got to be 4-4. But also the 49ers lost to teams without their top receivers. Like LA, didn't have their top receivers. Tutu Atwell dog walked us. And so it's not to say that it's going to be easy cakewalk because they lost receivers, but it does make that game a lot more easy, a lot more winnable. I won't say easy, winnable, because those were two game-changer receivers, and that changes the whole complexion of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. Yeah, that's huge. But the Niners got to beat the Cowboys. And one more thing, going back to the Jordan Mason thing. Also,
Yeah,
I know Feliciano keeps hinting he's supposed to come back. I think they need to make a change at center because I think also Brando's play in that middle is part of the reason teams stuff the box, and they know they can stop Brando and just get to the backfield. So they need to put Feliciano at center.
I agree with that wholeheartedly. Forster has said that Brendel's his best option, but I think it needs to be asked this week, does that include Feliciano? Because Feliciano is about 325. Brendel's like 285. I think Feliciano would give them a little bit more, as you said, a little bit more pop in the run game. I think he'd be a little bit stronger up front against the big bodies that you contend with at nose guard. All right, I forgot to hit any of these super, so we'll run down them quickly. Rakib Jumani says, "Congrats, buddy! Thank you on the 50,000." Maitland says, "Can you explain where the Ralph impression came from?" I said, "Yeah, Craig." Ralph and I, we're old friends. We both worked at KMBR, and I love Ralph. And when anybody who hears me doing his voice, that is an homage. That is not in any way meant to disparage the great Ralph Barbieri. He was awesome. He was a tremendous radio guy. He was a great person. He was a good friend, and I miss him. I really do miss him, and I try to keep his spirit alive by imitating his crazy pipes. Craig, you're so cute. You always get so mad at the Giants. He used to always, he used to do that all the time. So anyway, I know that Ralph knows that I love Ralph, and he's up there looking down going, Krug, you're making me laugh. So but that's where it comes from because we were old friends and we worked together for years. And I'm trying to keep his memory alive.
Keep his spirit,
yeah, exactly. I mean, he was a great, and also, you know what? There's so many of you guys who were KMBR fans for years and years. And, I don't know, maybe you enjoy it. Maybe you don't. I hope you do. I'm doing it. So hoping that you enjoy it. Costco Hot Dog says, when's the call-in show, Krug? Maybe Wednesday night. I don't know. Paulie Mack's going to be in the house. Maybe we'll do it Wednesday night. I got to talk to Kev. Anthony Catania, who's one of our sponsors. He is the owner of Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. Thank you, Anthony, for sponsoring the Krug Show. He says, good evening, guys. Would the Dolphins move Tyreek Hill? If so, should the Niners make a move for him? Or how about Gabe Davis? Different players. I don't think Gabe Davis is a fit because I don't think he's fast enough. I don't think he's going to complement what they have. Tyreek Hill would cost a lot. Yeah. But Tyreek Hill is explosive, and he's exactly what they need in a lot of ways. I would love to see them get Tyreek Hill.
God. Oh, God. I
don't see it happening, but I'd love to see it.
Man,
John Muniz says, you think Brock's numbers would be better if Kyle Shanahan would use more play action? Seems like Kyle's pushing issue that he can be just a drop back quarterback and win. I don't get it. He had the best play action numbers of any quarterback in the league last year and this year, and yet he's 32nd in play action pass rate. He's it's really low percentage. I don't understand the shift. I really don't. I'm not sure if Shanahan has made it all seem like happenstance, but I know enough about football to know that it's not. It's not happenstance. He's not just doing it. What the hell? We thought we would do it. No, he's doing it for a specific reason. Whether he wants to share that reason or not, probably not. But he's definitely doing it for a specific reason. It's not just like, I didn't notice. John Muniz says Brock never has had an O-line to help him. Yeah, seriously. You got a quarterback. How about build a freaking offensive line that can protect him? 49er throwback. Do the 49er fans still believe in Purdy and Shanahan? We've been hearing all this nonsense of firing Kyle Shanahan. What about Brian Schneider and Nick Sorensen? I think that the rank and file fan believes heavily in Purdy and Shanahan, and it's just a few content creators with YouTube channels who are making it seem like the fan base is really about to turn on Purdy and Shanahan. That's not what I get when I talk to the fans. But maybe that's what they get when they talk to the fans. So maybe they're just sharing their experience. As far as Schneider, I think I agree with Raj. I would make a change. As far as Sorensen, I mean, at least Sorensen did exactly what I told him I thought he should do, which was play Winters over Campbell. Now, how about this? How about get rid of Campbell and go get a fast linebacker and play nothing but fast linebackers?
Tell him. I died when I saw your question last week. I was listening to it live, and I'm like, "Oh, Larry just hit him with the," and you could see his face. He was like, "Oh, great!" And then he made his little, "Oh, he's calm. He's the veteran."
Like both. Yeah, he's a veteran. I mean, he gave a suitable answer, but
he did a decent answer. But it was the safe PC answer. But I was like, "Wow, Larry came for the jugular." I think I commented on your video because I was like, "Oh, he posted." You came for his.
I'm not there to embarrass anybody. Like,
no,
I don't want to embarrass Nick. I don't want to. Believe me. If we could do that in the hallway, I'd rather do it in the hallway. But at the same time, when 20 or 30 people say Krug, Campbell, WTF, I'm the guy sitting in the room. I got to ask a question when I agree that Campbell should not be in there. But I tried to do it in a diplomatic way. I said, obviously, you like Campbell. You're going with him. Why is he a better choice than Winters or Graham? And to be honest, they went with Graham or they went with Winters. I actually think that Graham is better than Winters or Campbell. And if they put in Graham at some future point and he goes off, remember that I said that.
I know you said that. Yeah.
Graham is better than Winters. Graham is better than Campbell. I sincerely believe that.
Than Campbell, but that's easy. But honestly, they just need Greenlaw back. But yeah, that was a great question. And to go off a throwbacks question, I mean, it depends on the fan because there's a lot of emotional people, and after the games, people get so emotional and they hate Kyle because he hasn't been able to get over the hump. I think there's a big part of the fan base that is getting frustrated and they want him on the hot seat because they want result. They want a Super Bowl. That's what they want. But the question, and you've always said it, is if you fire him, who are they going to replace him with, right? Like I think the big choice out there would be Ben Johnson from the Lions, but he's also an uncertain. You go back
37 years old. Who knows what he's going to do?
Who knows? Yeah, who knows? So I don't know. It's a tough question. At the end of the day, the Niners face a 3-4 record right now in Week 7. They've turned it around before. If they do it again, Kyle's a genius again.
AIA says 49ers came in soft, giving the Chiefs their flowers before the game even started. What happened to Smash Mouth football? Amen.
Yeah.
John Muniz, last bad blood was against Philly. No heart.
Yeah.
John, I hate to say it, but I think you're right. 49er Jeff, I agree 100%. Where's the fucking fire? I threw the fucking in there. Something going on.
Yeah.
Jeff, you're a nicer man than me. I would have dropped an F-bomb there. John Muniz, guaranteed money is better than rings. Oh God, that's the last thing. I don't want to hear that. John Kalua, Kyle's weakness is his inability to motivate and fire players up. It's so critical that he is a defensive coordinator with a Robert Saleh or D'Amico Ryans personality.
It's a good take.
I actually think this is really. I know a lot of people are going to hold Kyle's feet to the fire on this. I don't think that's Kyle. I think Kyle's got to be Kyle. It's not about firing people up. It's about getting guys like Dre Greenlaw. Was Dre Greenlaw fired up the other day on the sideline when he hit McBride? Yeah, and he wasn't even wearing a jersey. He wasn't even in pads. So get me those kinds of guys. Get me the kinds of guys that live to hit, that live for the contact, not who live to avoid it. I want more Malik Mustafas. Get more guys like that. It's a mindset. Rafael Flores, we need D-Hop and an offensive tackle. Or is that a defensive tackle?
Right, defensive tackle.
I don't know if D-Hop's the answer. I don't know if he can separate. Rafael says D-Hop is a man beater, and he can mentor our wide receivers.
He could help us beat man coverage. I think that would be the reason you get a guy like him. But he is a little step slower than he used to be. But he is.
Did you see Ricky Pearsall this week?
Yeah. I mean,
1.9 yards of separation.
His first game against the Chiefs. Listen, You just are happy that he's out there, Larry. This is his first game. He got shot in the chest 50 days ago. And you're playing against the best man coverage cornerbacks in the NFL. I don't think anybody was going to expect it.
I hear you. Sven says, any possibility for D-Hop or T. Higgins? I think they will trade for a wide receiver. I don't know if it'll be those guys, but I think they will.
For D-Hop. I guarantee it.
I think of those two, I would bet. If I had to bet, I'd bet on D-Hop. Yeah. AG says everyone needs to chill. Here's a prediction. We will win our 6th Lombardi this year, beating the Chiefs in New Orleans 38-19. Payback will be a bitch.
I hope so.
Ooh, AG. Speak it into existence.
That's a good take.
Oh, God, how awesome would that be? Wayne Jenkins just says, hey, I'm dropping a deuce because I'm Wayne Jenkins. And then Wayne Jenkins says, is Grant even a Niners fan? Who's this Grant you speak of? No, I'm just joking. Is Grant? No, I don't think. I mean, Grant. I don't know. I think he is a Niners fan. I think if you ask Grant, he would say he's not a Niners fan. He would say he's Niners media, I think. But I don't know. To me, to do what we do, like when I say we, I'm talking about Grant, myself, Vish, Jesse, anybody, the people who do content creation, who people do YouTube channels dedicated to the 49ers. I just refuse to believe that anybody can put in the kind of hours that it takes without on some level being a fan. And when I say a fan, I mean being a true like enthusiast for the team. It doesn't mean you're a rah-rah fan that is blinded by your fandom. But you know what I'm saying, Raj? It's like, could you do what you do and spend all the hours doing it on the 49er side? I know you're a physical therapist and you have another job, but could you devote the hours that you devote if you weren't a fan?
If I was a Niner fan, I don't know if I would. I put in, because you put in a lot of. I put in so much time on Niner content. It wouldn't make sense. There is one guy I know that isn't a Niner fan and he covers the Niners. He's actually an Eagles fan. Chase, Chase.
Chase Senior.
Chase Senior, yeah, it's his last name, Senior. He's actually an Eagles guy. He does the Eagles content, but he double dips in because he knows the 49ers get good money. Like if you do YouTube on the Niners and you get the views, you're going to get money. So I think he's smart in that sense. He's going to make money off the Niners, but he's actually an Eagles guy. But he does a lot of Niners content.
Yeah, he does a good job too. But I mean, I'm just saying, it's like on some level, if you're going to spend the hours that we all spend doing this, you probably got to have some great enthusiasm for the team. And so that would be, I like, am I a fan? Well, I grew up in the Avenues as a fan. My dad was a season ticket holder to the Niners at Kezar. I didn't choose the Niners. My dad chose the Niners. And I just was a little kid in the family. And so I don't feel like I didn't choose any of my teams. I inherited all my teams. Yeah. I'm a Giants, Niners, Warriors, Sharks guy. And only the Sharks were my choice. Everybody else, that's just who my family was rooting for. That's who I root for. But yeah, I don't consider myself like a fan per se now, but you know what? I do. I am still a fan. On some level, I'm still a fan because I couldn't put the kind of enthusiasm and energy and time into this if I didn't have some enthusiasm for it, and that enthusiasm comes from being a fan. Dan Serrano says, don't fight it, Larry. 49 Throwback says, are you and Kev back tomorrow night? Possibly. Paulie Mack is going to be in the house tomorrow night. I'd like to do a call-in show too with Kev, so we'll have to see if it will be tomorrow or later in the week. But there you go. Anyway, Raj, good. You have a final thought before we bolt for the door, but good stream. I liked a lot of the topics we hit today. You got a final thought before we say goodbye?
My final thought is just beat the damn Cowboys, because I don't know what I'm going to do if they don't. Beat the Cowboys. That's it. Beat the Cowboys.
Beat the GD Cowboys. Peace.
Yeah, never met a man I've been scared of.